We see this all the time. You're an innocent, in other words, you're not suspected of a crime, passenger in a car. You're just riding in a car. You're only riding in a car. That's it. You went from outside the car to inside the car, and at some point, hopefully, you'll be getting back outside of the car. But when you're inside the car, and especially when you have a traffic stop involved, you're detained and you're part of the stop. Now, the driver's the one who has to give up the information if they're the only one suspected of committing a crime or an infraction. That's by law. But what about you as the innocent, in this case, front seat passenger? You're just sitting in a car. Oh, but that's not going to deter a determined police officer who's going to get your ID come hell or high water, hook or by crook. And why? Because they want to run everybody for warrants. You might be wanted for murder out in New York City. See, we're all assumed to have a warrant or be criminals. They just have to ferret it out. And by gosh, they're going to get their hands on your ID, so they start intimidating you. You're just a passenger. You haven't done anything wrong. Now, as a passenger, if you threw a beer can out the window, well, Katie barred the door. You're done. You committed a crime. Now you have to give up your ID. But you haven't done anything like that. What I'm about to reveal, you've never seen or heard before. You're getting in on the ground floor because I'm going to share with you what to say when you are an innocent passenger in a car and you have an asshole cop who's demanding your ID. I need you to pay attention, please. Quick review of case law so we don't get this thing lost in the weeds. Brennan v. California. Everyone in the vehicle is detained during a lawful traffic stop. You cannot just walk away. Try it, and you're going to find out how wrong you are. And I hope you have good insurance. Then, of course, we have Maryland v. Wilson. Passengers are required to step out of the vehicle upon the request of an officer. We could debate all day about an officer safety rationale. Doesn't matter. If an officer tells you to get out of the car and you're a passenger, get out of the car. Otherwise, you're just going to complicate everything and blow it. And then we get to Terry v. Ohio, Brown v. Texas. Unless the officer suspects you of committing an actual specific crime, they can pound sand. The people who keep giving up their ID because I love the police, they walk on water and I got nothing to hide, I want to make their jobs easier. Those people are fools. They give up their rights, and you know what? That public servant, that government worker laughs at people who give up their rights. They think they're dumbasses. If you're sitting in a car like that, and you're tooling down the road and you throw a beer can out the window, you committed a crime. I don't want to get into technicalities. A crime, infraction, doesn't matter. Have you put yourself in a position that if a law enforcement officer sees you throw that can out the window, for instance, that you're basically screwed? You're going to have to give up your ID, and you're going to have to take the ticket like a man. Okay? Be a man. You know, speaking of Terry v. Ohio, remember years ago when Geraldo went into that vault? It was a big deal, live TV. Was that Howard Hughes or Al Capone's vault? I think it was Al Capone's. Anyway, it was kind of a bust, not much in there, but Geraldo did find something that he pocketed, and the world didn't know that until now. So this is the first time any of us have seen this. And again, this is related directly to Terry v. Ohio. Okay, let's see. Just give me a second. Okay, here we go. Gosh, that's hard for me to watch. Okay, well, moving on. You've thrown the beer can from the vehicle and there's a cop who sees it. So here's how this is going to break out. Number one, you're a passenger in a car. Number two, you committed a crime, littering from a motor vehicle. Number three, as a result, you must show your ID. That's the way it's supposed to work in the normal world. There was a crime which predicated the demand for ID. See, the articulated crime comes first before the demand for ID. Police officers, articulated crime first, and then the ID. They must be that stupid, and the people in positions of power and management and training are stupider. That is such simple shit. Articulated crime, then the ID. You see, what I'm talking about is you have to have the law on your side. You have to have the law on your side. If they go after your ID and you're not suspected of committing a crime, do they have the law on their side? Yes or no? Mr. Prosecutor, did the officer have the law on his or her side? Yes or no? The answer to both questions, no and fuck no. I cannot imagine what I'm about to share any prosecutor would want to touch one of those false while you're obstructing my criminal investigation or interfering with my criminal investigation bullshit false charges. Let's go back to the original script so we can finish this up. Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head are driving the car. If they committed an infraction, the cop deals with them, gets their documents. You're just sitting in a car. So with that in mind, let's change the dynamic of this scenario. You're just sitting in a car now. You have not committed any kind of crime. You went from outside the car to inside the car to back outside the car. Where's the crime? So in the first scenario, yeah, you littered from a motor vehicle. There was a valid actual crime that you're culpable for. Okay, give up your ID. We're on scenario 2. The current scenario, there's no crime. So how is it you end up getting arrested for not identifying, which they'll couch behind interference or obstruction? Remember, this takes care of that bullshit too. I'm going to give you the tools to be successful and prevail at this stage. You're setting the officer up. You're teeing the officer up with one simple question. He has to answer it because you're going to keep hammering and hammering and hammering with one question. You don't get distracted. You don't let him flip the script. You don't let him take you off into freaking la la land. Ask the question confidently and boldly. They have to answer it. And once they do, you got them. I'm talking about if they continue the demand and then end up arresting you for not identifying. You ask the question, and when they answer, you know what the best part of that is? There's only one fucking answer. You're asking a question that boxes them in, and there's only one correct, legally correct answer. And that's where we are in this scenario. Why are they going after your ID? Because you're a passenger in a car. Why are they going after your ID? Because you're a passenger in a car. So it must be a crime to be a passenger in a car, right? Right? Is it a crime to be a passenger in a car, guys? That's why they're demanding your ID. Please tell me that you're already 16 steps ahead of me. They're only demanding your ID because you're a passenger in a car. The law has to be on your side. It's not on their side. So what question do you ask when an officer is adamant about getting their hands on your ID? Officer, is it a crime to be a passenger in a car? Answer the question, it's yes or no. And you keep going. You have to get them to answer. There's only one way to answer legally. And the answer is no. Officer, answer the question. Is it a crime to ride in a car? Officer, is it a crime to ride in a car? Officer, you're demanding my ID because I'm a passenger. Is it a crime to be a passenger in a car? However you want to phrase it, you have to stick to, they're going to arrest me for not IDing because I'm a passenger. Literally criminalizing riding in a car in the United States of America. How many times have you ever heard this from an activist or somebody who uploads their videos and then starts making legal commentary? Officer, is it a crime to ride in a car? This has to go national. This has to go nationwide. Everybody who travels should have that question at the tip of their tongue.